So welcome back to episode 8 in this ongoing series where we're building a FlutterFlow application using Supabase as the backend. I hope you've enjoyed the series so far. We're going to continue our journey in this particular episode where we're going to start now creating tasks that are associated with our goals within inside our application. So of course, please do check the link in the description as well. If you want to start right from where this episode commences, then please do clone the project with the link in the description, and that will hopefully give you everything you need to then continue your journey. So of course, if you want to go back right to part 1 where we start from absolute scratch, then please do check the link also in the description for that as well. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So let's have a look at what we are going to create in this particular episode. So we're going to now focus on building out the tasks page of our application. So this is where you should be at this moment in time if you are running the application. We've kind of got our goals screen generally created. There's a few little additions that we're going to need to make, such as deleting goals and all that kind of stuff. But this is what you should be presented with so far. The sample data will obviously be different depending if you've been running it so far. But what we want to do now is we want to actually just select a goal now, and we want to be in this particular screen where we're going to want to start creating tasks. So quite simply, I can come down here to the plus here and I can create a task in there, just put some information in for the description, hit create task, and we should see that task get created. So let's focus on start building that part of our application right now. So here we are then back in FlutterFlow and we're on the widget tree. Let's start now creating our new page. So just right click on where it says add pages, hit the little plus there, hit add page, and we can very quickly come up with this wizard here, and we're just going to want to say create blank, and you're just going to want to call yours tasks page, and just hit the create page there. And so we've got that all set up for us. We don't want to have any of the basic widgets that are in there at the moment. The app bar we don't certainly need, so just on the right on the app bar here, just press the little X and it's gone for us. We're going to kind of introduce our own app bar, and we kind of did that on the home page. So we're going to go there now, we're going to copy that, and we're going to bring it across to this page. So if you go back to the home page and on the row itself, just right click and then hit the little copy icon here, just hit that, go back to the task page, go back to the column, just right click there and hit the little paste option, and then that's going to be carried across. Now there's bits that we don't need. We don't want the Lottie animation here, so let's just choose Lottie animation, delete that out. This particular icon button we can delete here, and on this particular icon button we're going to reuse this one. Okay, so we're just going to move this by holding down the left mouse button and very quickly dragging up to the row and dropping, and we got our icon button there. So let's make some changes to this now. So we want to make sure there's no actions in there. No, we haven't put any filtering on there at the moment, so let's just move down to the filter list. Let's just change that, and we're going to want to look for a back. So we just want to choose any kind of back, the arrow here. I think that one there is quite simple, chevron left, that's what we want. Everything else should be set up the same for us. That's perfect. And what we'll do is we'll now go in and we'll actually create the action now to navigate back to the home page. Okay, so we're not going to be technically going back now, we're going to be actually navigating back to the previous page. There's a very good reason for us doing that, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. So on the actual actions here, so just hit the little action icon up here, just select that and say add action, and just do a search for navigate there, and we are going to want to navigate back to the home page, so just choose that. Well, now we're going to want to turn this option off here to allow back navigation, because we don't want it to remember us from sort of going back, so we just want to just turn that off here. And then our default transition is going to be a slide right, so that's kind of the visual effect that you see on the screen when you actually hit that icon. And the milliseconds that we're going to put in here is 200. That at least gives us that nice more pacier look of the navigation moving back to the previous page. Everything else is perfect for us, and we're just going to want to change the text here, and we're going to want to change this, and just select it and just change the word to goals tasks. In fact, goal tasks would probably be better. There we are, goal tasks, and that's everything that we need to do on this particular sort of row that we just introduced. So then next up, we need to create our list view, but that list view is going to contain some further widgets for us. Okay, so we're going to need to introduce a panel, and that panel is going to have a couple of different widgets inside it that's going to have visibility rules associated with it. For example, this task here as a sample is not complete, but if I was just to select that now, then you're going to see that the visibility rules have now played out because we've now marked it as complete, and you can see here that we've got some strike through on some text. So we're going to now introduce that panel with these widgets now, and of course we've got the little delete icon here that we can introduce at this particular stage. So let's go and do that now. So let's carry on then building our list view for our tasks. So on the left hand side where it says column, we're going to want to add another column in. Okay, so just hit the little plus there, choose column, and we're going to want to call this one tasks column. So just up the top there, I'm just going to rename this to task column. Of course, as a long-term FlutterFlow user, I always rename up to the right there, but you can also do it just down here in the actual widget tree. So you can just double click and you can rename there as well, but it's just by habit that I go up to the right hand side. So choose which method that you prefer yourself. So once we actually have our task column, we're going to want to put some tasks in it, and that we can do by adding in a container, and then within inside that container, then we've got another row which will contain all of the additional widgets. So within the task column, the first thing that we're going to do is add our list view. So that's going to be our wrapper that's going to contain our multiple tasks. So just click on list view here. If I type it right, there we go, list view, and then of course list view is then just added in there, and of course this is now where we can start adding in those visibility widgets. So the first thing that we're going to add in is our container, so just choose container, and then the first thing that we're going to do is move over to the style here. Let's give our style the selection of container primary, so just select that. Now you won't see anything visually there straight away, but what you will see of course is that the panel has actually got that now associated with it. But what we're going to do with inside the actual task column itself, we're just going to put some padding in just to bring that off the edges here. So just choose 16 here, and we're just going to lock that in. So of course all of the directions are all covered there by our padding. And if I just click away here, you'll just you can't quite slightly see yet. Let's add a container in here. Let's add the row in, and you'll now start to see, if I click away, you're starting to see the styling of the container coming through. So now let's work on our row. So if you remember back to the little preview that we had just a moment ago, our row has some icons which represent whether something is completed or not completed. So we need to add those in. And then also as well, we've got some text in there as well. We've got two text widgets that will have either a strike through text or a non-strike through text to represent that it's not complete, that particular task. And of course on the right hand side we've got our icon as well. So everything is horizontally positioned. So this is where we're going to use a row. So we've got the row already in line there. So let's now start adding the widgets in. So hit the little plus. So if I just going to do a search for icon here, let's choose the icon option that's just here. Let's just choose that. And we're just going to duplicate that. So just right click and say duplicate. And then of course, we're just going to add a text in there. So hit the little plus, just hit text there. And of course, we're just going to duplicate that as well. And we're going to hit another little plus here. And we're just going to choose an icon, and we're just gonna, this is going to be actually an icon button, of course, because it's going to be a button that will actually have like a little trash can associated with it. So just hit the little plus there, and then we've got our icon button in place. So we'll come back and we'll style those in just a second. So let's just change our icon names here. So let's choose icon, just type the right word in, icon complete, and let's just double click this one and say icon not complete. Okay, and then with our text, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to wrap our text actually into another row. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to make the actual row actually push out to the full width. I want to push that icon to the right hand side. Okay, if I just right click on the text there and just say wrap widget, let's just choose row. So we've got a kind of a row inside a row, and we're just going to push this text actually inside there like that. So it's all inside a row here. Now when the row is actually selected, we can just choose the little expansion icon here. Let's just click that, and that pushes everything out there. And of course, during the recording of these videos, you'll notice that with the FlutterFlow team have obviously continually updating the product, so things will gradually change depending what time you start watching this series. But you can see here that the icon buttons have changed here. So the one that we've been using quite often in here is this one here on the right hand side, which will expand the widget out to the full available width of the space that it's with inside. Okay, so just remember the icons do change along the way. So that's good. So let's now make some further sort of cosmetic changes now. So with our icon, we want to now select the right icon here. So let's just choose that. The color is going to be our primary. So let's, that's going to be our secondary, of course. That's just going to be a slightly sort of hint of green. And our icon size is absolutely fine at the size of 24. And then we want to actually then change the name of the actual icon. So let's just select our icon that we actually need. So this one's going to be a solid circle. Okay, so this is going to represent the completion state. So if we do a search for solid, let's see if we've got anything under Font Awesome here. Let's try to type in solid check. So there we go, solid check. This is the one that we need here. So just choose this solid check circle there. And then on the next icon, let's just choose that one here. That's going to be slightly different. This is just going to be more circular. So let's just choose the color first, actually. Let's just choose the secondary option. And then within the settings outlined, let's change this one as well. Let's just search for circle. Let's see if we can find one that's going to work for us. It's under Font Awesome as well. That's looking pretty good. Let's just choose that. And you can see here that we've now got this circular. Now, actually, we don't want the icon color to actually be the secondary color, actually. We're probably just going to want to change it to secondary text. So that's gave it its kind of its grey sort of look. Now that's looking okay there at the moment. We'll sort the padding out in a second. Now with inside these particular areas here, these two text fields here, we just need to make a change there to the text that we've got here. So let's move over to the styling. So let's choose a title small like that. That's just going to set the characteristics here of the actual look and feel. That's fine. We just need to do the same thing for this text as well. So let's choose that, and let's just choose title small. That's good. So now with the text selected, let's just make a couple of other little cosmetic changes. So we need to do a strike through for this particular text, and the primary text is now going to change to the secondary text. This just gives it that look of something that's just been kind of struck through, been completed, but it just kind of just takes the boldness of the text away a little bit, so it looks a little bit more meaningful. Let's focus on now the icon on the right hand side here. So let's choose the icon here, the icon button. Let's give this some details. Let's just select that. Let's move down here. So let's change the fill color. Let's say clear color there. So we've got no fill color. Now the border color, I don't think we've actually got any border color. So let's just clear that color there. So we've got no border color here. Now the icon needs to be a kind of like a trash can. So let's just do delete outline. So that's looking good for us. We can just take that one there. So it's got a little trash can here, and we can just change the font size down to 20. And whether it says the icon color, we want to kind of give it just like a ready sort of color here to represent. So just choose the alternate color there, and that gives us our little trash looking symbol. So finally, let's sort out the padding now of our actual row here. So this is the row that we need to make some adjustments to. So on the left hand side here, we've got 10, and then on the right we've got 10, and we're just going to do 5 from the top and 5 from the bottom. Okay, so things are looking quite nicely for us. We've got pretty well much most of the UI elements that we need in order for us to now make that call out to Supabase. We're now going to want to bring back all of the tasks for a particular goal. So the way that we do that is that from the home page, when they actually choose a goal, we're going to want to pass the goal ID from Supabase into the task page for then the task page to then do the query into Supabase to pull back all of the tasks that are associated with that particular goal. So what we need to do is we need to configure our task page to accept that parameter that's going to be passed into it. So let's create that parameter now. So on the tasks page, just choose that. We are now going to give the parameter, we're going to actually create the parameter on the page. So just press the little plus up here, and we're going to define a new parameter, hit the little add parameter, and all we're going to do is we're just going to type in goal and then uppercase I and then D. Okay, so it's called goal ID, and that type is going to be an integer because in our database it will simply just be a number that we're going to pass in, the actual ID of the goal. It is going to be required because every time you go to this page, you're going to always be passing that goal ID. So it's important to make sure you set that up as required. Everything else is the same. So just hit confirm. Of course, once we've got that, we can now hook onto that now with inside our actual list view itself that's going to then make that query. So let's now configure the list view to make that call out to Supabase. So let's head over to our list view then, just choose the list view, and we're going to move up to this option up here, which is the backend query option. Just select that. Let's add a backend query in. Now, of course, we are using Supabase, so just choose Supabase query, and the table that we're now going to interrogate is going to be the task table. So let's just choose tasks, and we're going to bring back a list of rows at this particular stage. We're not going to put a limit on for now. Within our filters, just choose the add for the filter, and then in the actual field name, let's just choose that, and it's going to be goal ID. Okay, so just choose the goal ID, and then the relation to that is going to be equal to, and of course the value is going to be then the actual page parameter itself. This is the one that we've just created. Okay, so just choose goal ID, and that's pretty good. Now we need to add some ordering on here. Of course, we can hit add order. Let's now go to the table field name. Let's say the created at. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually put the actual task that was created most recently at the top, but of course you can adjust this ordering however you want. If you want increasing, then of course it will be then the oldest one at the beginning. So just hit the confirm there, and that should be everything that we need. Just hit the confirm, and then you'll see that we get this kind of ghosted look to the list view to represent that we've got a dynamic backend query that's actually occurring. So let's make some adjustments with inside the list view then. We're going to want to change the term hello world to map to the title, which is the field obviously in our Supabase task table. So just choose the text option here, choose the option just here against the text, and we're going to want to choose the task row. So this is each individual row that comes back from Supabase. We're going to want to map that to the title. So just choose title, and we're going to want to do the same for this one as well. So just choose that, select that, and go to the task row and choose the title. So they are all set. We just want to change a little bit of padding as well. So on the row here, we just want to push this from the left hand side of the two icons to maybe have like a 10 margin on the actual padding here. So just pushes it off the side there. That just makes it look a little bit more nicer. So let's work on the conditional visibility then. So on these two icons here, we're going to have some conditional visibility that's going to be set. That's going to either display them or hide them depending on the value from the database. Okay, so with this particular one here, let's just choose the icon complete, and let's add some conditional visibility behind this. So just toggle this option on, and then let's click on this particular option here on the unset, and we're going to want to choose a condition. Okay, so just at the top here, we're going to want to put a single condition on this. Okay, so just choose single condition. And the first value that we're going to want to set is this one here. So this is going to be the complete field. Okay, so click on tasks, scroll down here, and there's one called complete. And we're going to want to say if it's equal to true, if it's complete, then we're going to want to display this icon within inside the UI. So just choose the second value here, choose value source. We're going to say specific value, just scroll down, and we're going to choose this to be true and hit confirm. In fact, what we're just going to literally select that, and we're just going to move up to here, and we're going to copy this because we're going to want to do the complete opposite of this. Okay, and we'll be able to copy that in, so we'll be able to paste that in, and then we'll be able to then change those values. So just choose the copy option, and then on this particular icon here, if we just choose that and we go up to conditional visibility, just choose that on, and then with inside here, just choose this little option up here which is called paste variable. So when you've got something in the clipboard, it will then allow you to paste it in. So just choose paste, and everything else is going to be exactly the same, but on the actual second value here, we're going to want to display is false. So we're always going to show one icon, okay, but of course it's going to be dependent on the actual condition that we're applying here. So just choose confirm, and we are good. So that should actually work for us now if we had a task within inside our goal. So funny enough, we now need to do exactly the same thing actually on our title, but this time we're going to choose the one that's a strike through. So we're going to paste the same condition that's going to be the same as this icon complete here, because both of these are going to be on a completion. Okay, so with that one actual selected, just choose conditional visibility. We're going to go here again, and we're just going to simply paste that in and hit confirm. And of course on the title here, just select that one, go to the conditional visibility, let's just choose that one, let's paste that in there, and quite simply on the second value, just switch this around to then false. So we should have everything set up quite nicely there. So let's now work on the delete action now, this on the right hand side. So let's now choose the icon button and let's click on the little actions up here and let's open up the action flow editor. Now, of course, when somebody taps on this, we're going to want to delete the row from the database, and that's done really, really easily with inside Supabase. So let's hit the little plus action, and we just need to simply make a call out now to the Supabase database to make that happen. So using the power of FlutterFlow, just choose Supabase on the right hand side, and there's one just waiting for us called delete row, which is great. So choose delete row, and now this is where we now need to set some details up. So with inside here, we just need to set the table. So it's obviously a task, it's going to be deleted, so just choose tasks, and then we're going to want to then say the matching row. We need to match this to then identify which task that we want to delete. Now, obviously, with inside a list view, there's many rows, so we can simply just reference that row with inside here to then make sure we're selecting the right one to delete. So with that just drop down selected, just choose add filter. Now with inside the actual filter itself, choose a field name, and we're going to choose ID, because every single task that gets created within Supabase is going to have a unique ID created for it. So we just need to say ID, and the relation to it is going to be equal to, and then the value is going to come from the row itself. Okay, so just choose task row there, and we're just going to quite simply just select ID from here. So we've got a match between the ID that we want and then the value that we're passing in on the row, and that is all that we need to do. So just hit close. No, sorry, we're not going to hit close just for a second. There's one more thing we need to do actually. Once we've actually deleted the row, we're going to need to perform a refresh of the actual database query. Okay, and you can do that really simple. We can just hit the little plus here, hit add action. And if you just do a search here for refresh, we can say refresh database request, and the widget that we just need to select is the list view. We've only got one list view on this particular page, and this is going to make a quick call out to Supabase, do a refresh, and of course we'll instantly then see that task deleted. So that's all that we need to do. Just hit the close, and we are in a super position right now. So everything's looking pretty good. Obviously we can't actually create any any tasks yet, but we certainly got everything hooked up just as we need it in order to display all of the tasks that we've actually got with inside the UI. Okay, so let's have a look at the next bit that we're going to build. We're going to want to now start creating tasks. Okay, so we've got the little plus button down here. When you hit that, then you get the create task kind of bottom bar that will appear. Now, this is nothing different to the creating the goals, but obviously there's less fields on here. It's a much more simpler bottom bar. So let's have a look then at how that works. So what I've done is in our project, I've actually created the very basic elements of this, and all I've simply done is I've just copied the create goals one. I've renamed some fields just to get ourselves ready for us to then start hooking that into UI. So let's walk through that now. So back on the task page then, let me talk to you about the duplicate of the goals component that I've done. So all I simply did is I went over to the left hand side here. As I right clicked on create goal component, I just said duplicate. I gave it a name of create task component, and then what I did was with the new component now created, I went in there and I then went to remove the stuff that I weren't interested in. Okay, just to get it looking like this, we simply got a title and two fields for this particular component. And then obviously we've got our button, which has been relabeled to create task. So all you simply need to do is just rename the form to sort of form create task. Obviously I've renamed these as well, so please go ahead and do that. And we have everything as it was on the actual create goal. Obviously all the stuff that we don't need, I've got rid of. We've got text heading there of renamed to create task, and then we've got title and description, and I've just simply renamed the fields there, and the button has got no actions or anything like that associated with it. So it's pretty clean. The first thing that we need to do is just click on the form create task. We need to make sure that your task title and task description are checked. If they're not, make sure you do that. So just hit the little ticks against the side of these, and then the validation of the form will become then active and ready for us to then make a call with inside the button itself. So just make sure that's all done. Sometimes it applies it, sometimes it doesn't, but I believe, I don't think it's actually ticked by default. So just make sure that you've got those selected there. So then next up, what we need to do is we then need to do the most important part, and that is actually creating the task itself. But before we do that, what we need to work out is how do we associate a task with an actual goal? And the way that we do that is what what we'll do is we'll now set up a parameter in this component where we'll pass in the goal ID. So this will be the ID that we would have passed to the task page. Okay, we're going to pass that into this particular component, and then we've got it available to us, and then we can then perform and reference that particular goal within inside this particular action itself. So the way that we do that is we go up to the actual top of the component and we create a new component parameter. So just choose the little plus here, and we're going to say add parameter, and quite simply we're going to type in goal ID, GOAL, and then uppercase I and then D. Okay, I just put an uppercase I in there. You don't need to do that, of course, but that's just from my programming days that I always do, like a camel case there. So then with inside the actual type, we know that it's going to be an integer. It's going to be a number that we're going to pass in. It is required into this particular component, so just make sure that's selected and then hit confirm. So we've got that now set up, ready for us to now hook onto in just a moment. So we're going to go to the create task now, of course, and this is where we need to make all of the magic happen. So let's open up the action flow editor, hit open, and it's on tap, and we're going to add an action in. So the first action that we're going to add in is the validation of the form. We're going to make that call out to the form validator just to make sure that everything is good for us, and just hit that, and then we just want to choose that it's the form create task that we want to make sure is selected. Hit on the plus, and this is where we now need to call out to Supabase now to perform our insert of our task. So with this one selected, just move down here to Supabase, and we're going to do the insert row, so just choose that. Now of course the table that we're going to be referencing here is the tasks themselves, so just choose tasks, and then in the set fields just choose the add now, and this is where we're now going to want to set up the actual, like the title, the description, and of course the goal ID, which is really important as well. So where it says ID, just select that, and the first one that we're going to choose is the actual title itself, and the value, so just choose a little selector here. The value is going to be the widget state just at the bottom. If I just scroll down and choose task title, and then we're going to want to then add another field in as well. Just choose that there, choose the field name, choose description, and just choose a selector, and we're just going to scroll down here to widget state, and we're just going to choose task description. So that's the two main fields now hooked up with inside the UI itself. Now this is where we now need to set the goal ID. Okay, so choose add field, choose the ID, and we want to change this to goal ID. Okay, and the selector, just select that, and we are going to select the component parameter. You can see it's just kind of expanded for us, and we've got the goal ID in there. Okay, so just to recall then, we're passing the goal ID from the home page itself into the task page, and we're then passing the goal ID from the task page into this particular bottom bar component that then appears on the bottom. So with all of that selected, that's pretty good. We don't need to set any of the other fields for us. In fact, probably what we'll do is, well, just for completion actually, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll just choose the field here, and we'll choose complete, and we'll just pass in the term false. We know that when we create an actual task itself, we're just going to force it to set it as false for us. So now finally, all that we need to do now is then actually close out the bottom bar. So just choose the add action, and we're just going to select the close dialog drawer, etc. Just select that, and we know that will just naturally then close that bottom bar up. That's all that we need to do. Hit the close, and we should be in a good position now that once this is actually up and running, we should then be able to create the actual task itself. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed this particular episode where we've now kind of got the tasks created within inside our application. In the next episode, we're going to continue this UI sort of development where we're going to then focus on actually updating the tasks within inside our application as well. And of course, we'll spin it up and see how our application performs. So please do like the video, of course, and please do subscribe to the